Hello, it's Nico. I'm here again. I was thinking today and was wondering about what it meant to be a CODA. One idea that came to me was the relationship between privilege and responsibility. Two opposing ideas. Why privilege? How is that involved? You see, CODA means that it's a hearing child with deaf parents. This kid can speak as well as sign. This involves some power. And that's why deaf parents are in a weird situation watching their kid wondering what are they going to do. I need this child to make sure that they're representing exactly what I'm saying and what I'm signing. This, he or she represents me and what I'm intending in this conversation. It puts the burden on a kid, and it can be a lot, you see. When you're a CODA kid, do you understand what privilege means? Not really. You're always wondering, why are mom and dad looking at me like that? What, like they're expecting something to happen? Did I do something wrong? Did I make a mistake? That they can't understand. They're a kid. So then what happens, for example, is mom or dad could ask you, you need to interpret for us on the phone with a credit card company or the TV company, or maybe go with them to the dentist or the doctor. Are you going to be thinking, okay, how am I going to prepare for this assignment to make sure that my skills meet the task? Do I need to practice and plan it out? No, you're a kid. You're not a trained interpreter. You haven't had the experience through an interpreting training program. You don't have a degree. You haven't graduated. What are you going to do? You say, all right, no problem, mom and dad. And for example, this could influence your weekend plans. You might want to go spend the night with your friend, or you might want to go to the park and enjoy a fun day. However, this is where the responsibility comes in. For example, you could be going to the dentist with your mom or dad, your deaf mom or dad. So then you get up early on a Saturday morning, get in the car, and drive all the way out there to the dentist, for example. You've finally gotten there. You're not really necessarily prepared. You're not thinking about this in a structured way. What do you have? You've got your Game Boy. Mom goes and signs in, sits next to you. You're still playing your game. And then the nurse calls your mom, and it's time for her appointment. And then mom says, okay, put the game down, save it. And then, I turn it off, put it in my pocket, put it in your pocket, and then you go into the examination room. The nurse looks at you and says, wait a minute, I see the patient, but why is her kid there? So then you interpret what the nurse says, and then you interpret what your mom says, and then you say, well, I'm here to interpret for my mom. She needs something at the dentist, some kind of work done, maybe an x-ray or a cleaning or something like that. So then you kind of get this weird feeling, but then you have to ignore it, because then you've got to go and do the work. You're interpreting, and some of these larger words, this terminology is going straight over your head, but you just got to interpret. Adult interpreters have a similar experience. They don't know absolutely everything in depth as to all subjects in the world, but see, they have a more developed theory of mind. They have more experience in general. They have a stronger ability to make better informed decisions that can assist in conversation and that sort of facilitation of communication. But with a kid who has deaf parents, their world knowledge is a lot more surface level. It's not quite as deep. They don't understand. So with that privilege, your parents have to trust you when they interact with the hearing world. Is it wrong or is it right? It's difficult to say. For me, in my experience, it's already happened. I just want to share it with you. This can cause, as a CODA kid, your relationship with your parents to become a bit complicated. You don't fully understand, and at the same time, your parents still have to trust you. They have to give you some of that power, and it's awkward. It's difficult to handle, but then you've got to go and interpret. What do you do with that power? Most of the time, are kids obsessed with this power that they've received? Like, what are they going to... They're going to do, take advantage of it or something? No, they're thinking about kid stuff. For example, once I was done with interpreting, I would think, oh, thank goodness, I can go back to playing my video game or reading my book or playing outside, kid stuff. I also thought about an appropriate metaphor for this sort of situation. Imagine a kid who's playing dress up. They're putting on their parents' shoes, for example. Like, they're having fun. They're playing pretend with adult clothing. It's too big. It doesn't fit. Imagine the kid putting on the adult shoes and they look down. Obviously, it's not the right size. So they're going to walk awkwardly because the shoes are too large. And what happens is the laces can get tangled up and then the kid will trip and fall. I thought of that as a metaphor for making mistakes in that sort of situation. It's a tough experience for a CODA kid. They have to try to meet an adult's standard for a short time while they're managing their responsibility. To be honest, it is tough. Like I said before, it's already happened. Why do I want to share this with you? I thought that it's important to reflect and also to show you my experience and where I came from. Were my parents bad for putting that responsibility on me? Again, it's hard to judge. It's already happened, you see. How do I feel about it now? I do feel a little bit weird, but it did happen. So I might as well get something positive out of it. I got skills, I got experience, and it made me want to be more involved and try to create a situation where I'm helping people who are learning, or maybe someone else who's a CODA and might have had a similar experience and can identify with something similar. Something like that. Thank you.